straight out of prison,
well, as voters,
leading pop culture.
Yes.
But they're the ones that are influencing public opinion. Okay, these are the people that are influencing public opinion. So
right, and what you said was influencing. They're influencing public opinion, and so they're impressionable upon the young voters and the middle-aged voters. However, most majority of the party members do not have that connection with those voters. Not the people they see. That the thing that the Democrat Party has been doing is they've been funding a lot of rappers, a lot of like Megan Thee Stallion comes out to Kamala Harris, all this stuff like that. But they're not really talking to the voters. They're doing it for the popularity. But if you're talking to the voters, there's no connect with this newly successful, but they feel like now I relate to them. I like their music. I can do it too. But instead of teaching them that they can do it too, I feel like the Megan Thee Stallions, the Democrat policyholders are telling these kids to be afraid. Be afraid when you leave your house because the police are going to kill you. Be afraid when you choose to be gay because being gay, if your kids want to have surgery, if you want to have surgery, you're going to have to do it on your dime and not the government's dime. Listen, we have people in our community traveling to the Dominican Republic and all these different places to get BBL. You can afford that surgery without it being on taxpayer dollar if you really want that lifestyle. If not, then you can stand for the standard type of sex that you have, in that way. You know why? Because as somebody who is even in my tax bracket, if I want breasts, if I want a butt or something that bad, I have to realize that is a cosmetic surgery. And just because, and I'm somebody from the itty bitty committee. So, if it was something that really, bothered me that much, there was never an incentive for people like us to go and be able to boost our self-esteem by getting those. That is a cosmetic thing, in my opinion. Every taxpayer should not have to
being influenced by small-minded people. If the only thing you're worried about is having the ability to get an abortion or to be able to get a sex change, you're lost for already. That is not the most important thing. And I know people might say maybe not just to me, but if that's all you're concerned about, then first of all you're only concerned about yourself. Okay, I want to get an abortion. I want to get a sex change.
He said you're lost, but your lost part was so.
Yeah, they lost. They lost if that's all you worried about. If that's all you worried about, and this is what this election seems to be boiling down to, the right to have an abortion and the right to women's rights and all that kind of stuff. Well,
but
in the black community, we love our mothers. We love our mothers. I feel like
Republicans
that's never
always
been an
focus
issue.
on economic issues. Usually, we're more focused on economic issues, on strengthening the economy. Democrats send us into war. Every time it's been a Democrat, usually, every time it's a Democrat president, we go to war. We get deeper into war. Everything.
That's how we fund. That's how we funding stuff. We've been in war. We've been in war my whole life. I remember when we first started back in the 80s. A lot of my homeboys, a little older than me, they went to Kuwait and to Desert Storm and places like that. I lost some brothers over there, And ever since then, this was in the 80s. We've been at war. There's never been a time we haven't been at war since the 80s. Up until then, we had a little break after Vietnam for a little while, for just between the late 70s and then in the 80s. And before that. I was born in the 60s. It was Vietnam, It was Vietnam. It was Korea, before that. Then it was World War II. So it's always war. There's always wars, and there's always been war and wars and wars and wars. The problem is, and we're going to survive this too. We'll survive AI. We'll survive the cloning. We'll survive all that shit. The Matrix, the simulations, everything that no matter what has been proposed against us as a people, and I mean all people, but especially human people, we will survive this too. But at some point, we have to consecrate ourselves because we're being consecrated whether we like it or not. And when I say consecrated, I mean divided, separated, brought without, pulled without from within. Okay? There are certain things that affect us more than affect anybody else. Matter of fact, all things affect us negatively more than everybody, other population on the earth, planet Earth. Okay? So for that reason alone, regardless of party and politics, We have to come and start grassroots fundraising. If we can raise $30 million for Kamala Harris in a day or two, we could raise trillions of dollars for us over a period of time for our own self to start building our own foundations, that teaching, like you're talking about, the education, to start taking some of this financial burden. Insurance is one of our biggest problems as a people, because we can't afford it, for one, and mortgages. We're renting now. Now they've made it so that we're going to be permanent renters, as a majority of us be permanent renters. But we need to start going back to the land trust like we had when we after Reconstruction, after slavery. And, they got mad at a couple of brothers, said that, well, we were doing all right after slavery. Shit. Slavery wasn't bad, but because what we don't understand is we were the landholders. We were a lot of the landowners because we were the Indians. It was our land. We were the Indians. We were the Native Americans. Okay, so we owned the land. When they bought Louisiana, and when they bought Tennessee, a separated part of Georgia, and which was one of the largest, we were the Cherokee Nation, the Creek Nation, the Seminole Nation, the Yamasee. Okay, the Blackfoot, this was us, and then people talk about, well, why all of us say our grandmothers, every one of our grandmothers tell, oh, yeah, we got Indian in our blood. Girl, you ain't got no Indian in your blood. That's how they tell it. That's how they try to tell you. But why everybody grandmama say so? Great-grandmama told y'all what it was, and y'all don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? Why you don't believe great-grandma? She told you what it was, So,
but see, I think
this is why
great-grandma and the families, the lineages, the aunties and uncles, I think it was all of them who were responsible for making sure that we had a great foot when we set out. I don't feel like, it was the government or, the white man, quote unquote, who's responsible for
But the government always been against us. The government is
right, but I feel like we're individually, as a family, we're responsible for, our children. We have to teach and instill in them certain things. And I think as a result, they learned how to deal with other people in the community. And I think that there was a disconnect, like you said, during that time, during that crack era or whatever era, made it to where we can't do that. Something happened because now, whereas somebody would see somebody's child out in public and doing something absurd, they'd be like, hey, little girl, I'm going to tell your parent now. Come on now. And she get her act together. Now, if you say something like that to a little girl, the little girl going to want to fight you. You can't tell my mama. Oh, yeah. And it's a lot of this going on. And so, but I think that it came from us getting further apart as being able to just talk to one another. Everybody, is in the community usually is struggling or going through some familiar thing or something, and to where we can't. But we have to really reason. We have to, those of us who are listening, those of us who hear things like this, and say, you know what, I want better. It starts at home.
Then that's what it is. As a man thinker, there are no obstacles. We can overcome any obstacle. It's just mind over matter, as they said in the street. It ain't what you do, is how you do it. So a lot of those street philosophies apply. So I don't know if you know this. I went to school in Virginia I was up there about 5 years, and I was an English major, and I just learned to write and perfect my craft. But when I always wanted to write about the journey and the struggles that is in your own mind, in your own self. That's the biggest battle. Okay, once we overcome those things, and once we understand who we are, the light and the shadow. Okay, because we all have darkness in us, and they tell us to fear the dark as a child. But that's where the real truth can be found. You see the light clearer in the dark. You can't see the light when the light's on.
Come from the background that we come from, and inspiring them something deeper and better than fear. We can teach them that this is their America as well. They have rights to exercise those rights. And maybe they could feel a little bit entitled to this land, just as you and I. So thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Cassandra, and I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Okay? So, these people pretend to come over here destitute and nothing. But in order for you to even get here from India, South Asia, your people had to have something. Or had somebody sponsored you or something. So do we have extenuating circumstances? So when a politician tells me they can't do nothing specifically for the black community, they're full of shit, because there are certain things that are happening to the black community that aren't happening to the other communities. Okay, there are certain things that are affecting us that aren't affecting the Latinos, aren't affecting the Africans who migrated over here, who 9 times out of 10 come from decent families in Africa. Okay, I went to school with them. Most of all the Africans who went to Hampton University, they were rich, they were paid. You know what I'm saying? It costs money to get here from Africa. And have you looked up a ticket to travel to Ghana? Shit, it's like $3,000 to travel to Ghana. Shit, and that's coach.